Hi everybody, this is Sam with Python Basics, and welcome back to our SQL series. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at what is a SQL subquery, how does a SQL subquery work, and when and why do I need a SQL subquery. So if you are new here, thank you so much for joining us. This is what we do micro videos. So in last video, the last SQL video, we built our own column and we called it groups. And what we did is we began to group the pies, the peppers, the tomatoes, carrots, and as we can see here, we had 4 different types of peppers in our database. And we also had, we saw that we have 2 different types of pies, and this is from the database for SQL for data scientists that I highly recommend, and I do have this link down in the description below. But all right. So back to where we were. So we aliased all our peppers, all our bread, pies, potatoes, and lettuce, and some carrots. So now we need to find a way to really just group these and see how many and what are our entire. Because as we can see here, we went through and we did this. But what happens if we were handed this query from someone else, and it was lengthy, and we needed to then begin to group or count or have that output? But let's look at what this is called. First of all, this is called a results table. So as you can hear there, a table. So this is just columns and rows. And all this is columns and rows. So you can literally write a query and then query that query. So you can look at it one of 2 ways. You can query the results or query the query. So now I'm going to turn this into, and I'm just going to alias this as sub. So now that I've done that, let's query this. Select star from. So now I'm querying this results table or query, subquery as sub. So now let's run this. So as you can see, since I asked for everything, nothing changes. So now, and what do we call this? Groups. So if I just want to now pull in groups, okay, so now here I am. So now if I wanted distinct groups, so now all I'm going to get is how many each individual one. So now I'm going to be able to see how many there are. And as I can see here, oh, there's just 11. And then we can do a count here in a second. All right, so now if I wanted to count distinct groups, oops, I knew I'd hit a key somewhere. Count distinct groups. Now I get a hard number right here, 11. Let's alias this as group count 11, and then what was product name. So now what I'm going to do is count, because I still have this in here, distinct product name as product count. All right, let's run this. So now what I'm going to do is it'll begin to show you the difference. So we had 23 original products, and we were able to group it down to 11 so that we can make this easier to read. But I just wanted to begin to show you, because there are going to be times, and especially when you are creating your own derived column, you're going to need to, there are ways that you can do it in the same query, but majority of the time, you are going to need to place those inside a subquery to do any sort of groupings and things like that. So maybe actually next video, we can learn about a keyword that will allow us to do a filter, because especially if I wanted to then filter off of product group, one of these, I would not be able to. Actually, let's do that next. If I wanted to then filter off of this groups, you cannot do that in the same query because you're identifying it first. You then need to go outside a layer to then be able to filter. So we can look at that next video, because that begins to really show you one of the reasons. There are multiple reasons, but this is a perfect example for our first try. And then I'll go through and we'll look at having, and then we'll also look at filtering with where a subquery. So there we go, guys. Please, if you have not checked out this website and or book, I highly recommend it. And if you've not jumped over to the Discord, make sure you do that. And please make sure, if you have any comments, questions, video requests, please make sure you're dropping them down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you really enjoyed today's video. And if you haven't, check out this video right here or this one right down here. And most important, make sure you're hitting this subscribe button and the notification bell. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.